I mean, at this point, it's one of those, no better time than now.
Yeah.
Just try it out. You can be given a better platform, a better time to try this in your practice.
Welcome to All Things Business for Physicians, where I chat with marketers, accountants, physicians, and consultants to talk about everything like social media, office culture, running your medical practice, and how to align marketing and operations. If you're looking to grow your practice, get access to our patient acquisition and retention framework at hip.agency. Stacy, thanks so much for taking the time to jump on and chat about virtual consults for orthodontists.
Sure, happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk through this. We've been doing a lot of these once COVID started becoming an issue. We had tried virtual consults for a number of clients, but hadn't really built a process or system around it. And you were one of the first people that I actually talked to and was referred to by Greg over at SmileSnap. So for those watching or listening who don't know you, go ahead and just introduce yourself.
Okay, so I am Stacey Bagwell. I am a treatment coordinator for Waldman Orthodontics in Los Angeles. So I was Dr. Waldman's in-office TC for about 5.5 years and then needed to relocate to Florida for family reasons, and he kept me on remotely. We were kind of changing over all kinds of remote systems at the time, dental monitoring, and at the time we were about to launch our virtual consultation. So now I'm the remote virtual treatment coordinator for Waldman Orthodontics.
And so with doing virtual consults, I guess you've been doing them for a year or more?
Over a year now. Yeah, so we've been doing we started 1st of March of last year. So we've completed about 300. And when I say completed, it means we've sent treatment plans to the patient, like actual treatment plans to the patient. We've done many more than that, but sometimes, they weren't recommended treatment or we needed to refer to a specialist. So situations like that. But the ones we've actually sent has been over 300.
Wow. Talk through a little bit of that. How did you guys get started and what was the thought process in implementing virtual consults?
Well, it was kind of an evolving process. So when we first started, we were doing it was like a do-it-yourself method at the time. So then we switched to SmileSnap, and it really was a game changer for us. Not only for me as a TC, because it streamlined my work. It has the ability of, putting in treatment plans ahead of time, getting your wording right on emails that you want to tell every single patient. So as I was saying, SmileSnap's been a game changer for us. Not only us, the patient as well. Again, from our do-it-yourself version, it was working. It didn't, look that fantastic, and there were many steps to complete it. But with SmileSnap, I was able to streamline my work. So if you look over on the left side of the dashboard there where it says treatment plans, you have the ability to build your SmileSnap from the beginning. So my Dr. Waldman's known for his 800 million custom treatment plans that we've already written out, and the complete steps to everything with it. So we had a list of treatment plans that we knew we wanted to add in there. And then I also had a note to the patient that I wanted to tell every patient. So with that, once I would create a treatment plan, I would copy that basic information that I knew I wanted to tell every patient, and put it in each customized treatment plan that we used. So with our system, just kind of jumping around to when the patient goes into the dashboard, so they've completed the widget, they're now on my dashboard. At that point, I have mine set up where it's completely TC run, so I only need the treatment plan from Dr. Waldman. So the two ways he could do that is he could leave me a message within SmileSnap. When you click on the patient's name, then there's a place for internal notes. We use Slack messaging system in our office, which SmileSnap is integrated with Slack. So when we get a patient consult in, it automatically populates our Slack channel that I have it set up to go to. And that's where Dr. Waldman would review the photos and leave me a treatment plan. And then that's when I will call the patient. So I don't want to do everything digitally. And hopefully, or most of the time, I have talked to this patient already, because there's either two ways they come to us. Either organically, they've stumbled onto our website and they complete it, or I've, given them the invitation. So most of the time I do have this personal connection with the patient already, because even though I'm working remotely in Florida, I'm fully set up here with a system connected to Waldman Orthodontics. So I take all of our new patient calls as well. So I'm able to have that conversation with them from the beginning. Once I call the patient at that point, it's one of those situations where, okay, my mind mentally, sure, it's on the phone, but this patient is sitting across from me as if I was the in-office TC, having that exact conversation I would have in office. So simply, hey, Luke, do you have a few times to talk about the smile assessment that you completed? I just reviewed with Dr. Waldman and I'm excited to go over the details with you type conversation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, because we have a lot of clients doing these. Again, some are using SmileSnap, some may be using Rhinogram or other tools, and some may be, especially in this time, a little hesitant to get on the phone and get people to kind of commit. And so that's one thing that we've been talking to practices about is, hey, now that you may have even more time, take the time to really build that relationship, because when you do go back to work and are kind of running normally, you're going to stick out more in that person's mind than perhaps another practice or another experience that they had, or just in terms of prioritizing. Now is the time where you can really focus on building that relationship and kind of nailing these virtual consults. So right. I think that's really awesome that you're calling them, and that's been part of the process. We've noticed, and I'm sure you could attest to this, the practices doing that are having the best success,
Definitely. So, the ones that, as we were talking about before, when it'll stumble onto us organically and I've not had any connection, they are starting, but it's more difficult. They won't answer the call. When I call them, they're not answering. They're really wanting to keep it in that virtual sense. What we did notice when we started this is we initially thought it would be kind of like a weeding out tool, Yelpers, Google reviewers. What we quickly learned is it was our working professionals that chose the virtual consultation, because they wanted, efficiency, transparency. How can we just jumpstart this and move this forward? So it worked better for our working professionals. And again, our office is in LA. It's not the easiest city to move around in. So we want to, meet the patient where we're at. Well, all of us right now, we need to meet the patient where they're at and, come into their homes and do this process for them to let them proceed, even though kind of the whole world stopped around us. It actually gives them a sense of normalcy going through processes like this. Yeah, definitely. So talk a little bit about the success that you guys have seen over the course of the year. What's your close rate, that type of thing? So I would say out of the ones that complete the virtual consultation, probably about 50% schedule in office for the consultation. Now, I try not to schedule them until I'm about 99.9% sure they're going to start treatment. I could get 100% of those patients to schedule in office easily. They all want to, meet Dr. Waldman, they all want to just come in and get that experience. But I think it's important that we do use this tool to, especially now, use this tool to kind of prioritize who are those patients that are coming in our door. We may be limited on how many patients we're allowed to see once we go back into the office. So we want to make sure the patients we are seeing are, quality, almost like a pre-qualified patient. We know this patient is most likely to start when they come into the door for the in-office consult. And is there anything that you guys have changed due to COVID-19 for the virtual consult, or are you guys just continuing to run them the same? How's that going? We're pretty much continuing to run them the same. Of course, we're experimenting with things of what we can do along the way to go ahead and try to get that commitment from the patient. One of the things that Dr. Waldman came up is we're going to offer all of our patients that if they a really low deposit, even like $100, just committing in that. We had the idea, we don't even do like a lot of whitening in our office, but sending them whitening kits so they can get their teeth nice and whitened along the way until they're ready to start treatment. So they're actively doing something moving forward. And then we're also going to offer all of our patients Acceladent or accelerated treatment. So that way it makes up for the lost time. So again, they'll get the whitening, and then say we're another 3 months, 30% of treatment time, they can catch up by using the Acceladent or accelerated treatment option for our patients. So I think in that sense we're thinking more creatively, okay, how can we get, again, some type of commitment and engage the patient along the way with things like this, so that when we do start back, okay, these are the number one patients we're going to see in the office. when we come back. And it's been, fairly successful by offering that.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's cool to hear that you guys are really just continuing to be able to offer this to people who are interested. And I think that's the big part is, you guys obviously being an orthodontist, you're here to serve and using the virtual consult to continue to serve people who are interested. And then, I've also talked to people who may be on the other side of the fence and thought this might be something that would be a 2 to 3 week process. And now they're kind of having to think about, well, what does practice look like now, given that we've been in this a month and are going to be, at least in it for another month or two. And so, I think this is a great process, and I would just encourage people to maybe try it out and see how it goes, because worst case scenario, you're able to build your pipeline a little bit for when you do get back to work, as well as I really think this is going to change a lot in terms of consumer behavior. Even down to things in other industries like movie theaters or just shopping from home or, getting groceries delivered. We're learning to do everything virtually. So what would you say to practices who may be on the fence and thinking about doing this?
I mean, at this point, it's one of those, no better time than now. Just try it out. You can be given a better platform or better time to try this in your practice. Just as encouragement, we of course, when you're talking about conversion rates, so from 2018 we were trying a doctor-less type consultation, and then 2019 we started the virtual consultation where our adult conversion literally doubled. We weren't seeing any more patients than we were before. But again, those patients that were coming in were the ones starting treatment. So success rate, it's been very good for us, success. But again, I guess it's one of those things of you don't really have anything to lose by not trying it right now.
Right.
It's been it's been completely positive in our office in normal times. Now, of course, it's a vital part of our practice because we're not able to see patients. So we want to just, again, meet the patient where they're at as easy as we can.
Definitely. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to jump on and just talk through the virtual consult for orthodontists. And if people do have questions watching or listening, how can they get a hold of you?
Sure. Just email me, Stacy, Stacey, at waldmanorthodontics.com. And yeah, I'm happy to speak through. I've been speaking with a lot of TCs, just going over the actual workflow once they come into my SmileSnap dashboard, the steps from there on out. So I'm happy to speak to any offices.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time to jump on and chat.
All right. Thanks so much, Luke.
Okay, listeners, I hope this helped. We'd love to know what you thought about today's podcast, so shoot me an email at luke@hipcreativeinc.com and let me know things you are implementing from today's episode. Also, if you have any ideas on topics or just ideas for the podcast in general, let me know. To learn more about Hip Creative, head over to hip.agency. Thank you so much.